Hi everybody, Miles here, the golf professional at Southwark Park Golf Club. This week back on the course again. I want to try and knock off a few more things on the course that you may not notice you're doing, or some good habits you should reinforce that may be self-harming your golf a little bit. Some of them are very small and some of them you would have never maybe even thought about, but I'm going to try and tick them off for you. And yeah, if you see someone like me as a trained observer and coming out here on a playing lesson, you do notice people's traits and the small mini mistakes they're making constantly, and they undoubtedly will end up in being small either swing faults, alignment problems, or just poor course management. So I'm going to hit you with a very subtle one to start. This isn't the ideal tee to show you this on, but at the same time it would affect me a little bit. Right, so this is the 14th at Southwark, and the tee is a beautiful, what you think is pretty much straight fairway, but if I grid it up squarely to this tee, like I probably would to by default, for me, I'm aimed too far left. Everything's going to want to filter left. I'm going to probably end up close to the tree line on the left. So I'm going to have to force myself to come off of the square of the tee and aim more to the right. And it's quite hard to make yourself do that sometimes, because you know, especially like this is what you find a lot for people who practice all the time on ranges, because they're gridded up beautifully to this square. Hit a ball, hit a ball, hit a ball, come out on the big sea of nothing and with no real good way of alignment, and then you're going to get yourself into trouble. So look at the tee ground. Does it point in the place where I want to find my tee shot ending up? Quickie, let's move on down the fairway. Okay, back out on the fairway now, and I see the mistakes that some people make here are again all around alignment and pre-shot routine, but since I've covered it before, I'm going to skirt past that just a little bit to concentration levels. And you can see people's concentration levels dip up and dip down. They're faffing about, they can't choose a club. And once you've this is quite a common one for tour players, once their hand goes on that club to pull it out of the bag, that's when everything starts. That's when they start building their pre-shot routine. Mine's a tiny bit simpler than that, that I just have a particular way of putting my left hand on the grip. And I think there's a thing about Adam Scott and the way he puts it on, but I've always sort of shuffled it into my fingers of my hand. I want it to feel it in a certain place in my hand. And actually, it's been a very nice thing for me, actually, good thing for me, these aligned grips, because that is exactly what I've got my practice glove on as well. Funny I should say that. I'm a good boy, aren't I? That's what I'm trying to feel, that that part of my hand go on the club. So the moment that goes on, right, we're off now, and I'll start to cycle through my pre-shot routine. So I don't think I'll do it very quickly, what I think most people's pre-shot routine should be. And if you can get this nailed down to a nice tight time, it will improve things a little bit. So I'm going to go, I've got my hands on, now I'm going to go aim. So that's aim of the blade at the target. Aim, grip, ball position, stance, alignment, posture, little pre-shot waggle and hit it. So I've only done that quite quickly, but in my head I've cycled through that so many hundreds of thousands of times I don't think about it probably, but I'm always doing exactly the same: aim, grip, ball position, stance, alignment, posture, hit the shot. So that would take you a while to get that drilled in probably, but that's one. Second one is the mistake a lot of people make. They've made a decision before they've assessed the lie. So here's a really good tip for everyone: don't make any decisions about your shot until you've seen the lie. None. Especially around short shots and around chipping, you can't make a good decision until you've looked at the lie. Now we're getting to the time of year here where the lie is genuinely really nice all the time, and you can make those decisions, and you kind of thought as you walked up to the fairway, yeah, I fancy an 8-iron on this, but don't make your decision till you've seen the lie. Okay, so that's one. Let's move up a little closer to the green. Okay, bunkers can be the nemesis for a lot of people, and one thing you will find on golf courses, and especially you know, we're not all at the very most exclusive top of the range golf courses. Some of us are playing on public courses and little 9 holes and stuff like that, where not everything is going to be perfect. So tell me what you think the mistake around this is. What was my mistake? Now this is really simple and something you should all already do. You cannot tell what the surface is like prior to the shot, but you can have a very good guess. Use your feet, screw your feet into the sand. Don't come out of the bunker and say to your friends, wow, that sand is so deep, and because you've chunked it and left it in the bunker, or it's shot over the green because there's no sand in here. That's your chance to feel the surface. You can just see what's underneath your feet. How much sand have I got? What does this feel like? Is it compacted? Might help you. Little thing to knock off. Do it every single time. Okay, I genuinely believe if you take one thing away from this video, it's this bit of advice. And a problem I see lots of people make, especially the people that hit the ball quite a long way or quite hard, right? So your ability to control 100 yards and in shots and not have to rely on hitting a full shot every time for your yardage. So I was out with a guy not so long ago and I said to him, you're going to need 8 wedges, because you're going to need a 46, a 48, a 50, a 52, a 54, because he only had a full flat out shot. And I mean hitting it really hard all the time, and it's not going to work. You're not going to do it. You're going to have to find a way of scaling a lot of these shorter shots down, using a shorter swing. So for me, if I'm teaching anyone, I will almost forbid you to get past shoulder height on a wedge into a green. For me, that's as far round as we need to wind it. If you see someone in a full extension like a drive hitting a wedge, you're just rolling the dice unnecessarily. You've got to find a way of easing some shots into a green with a very controlled swing. You'll still keep the spin on it, you'll still keep plenty of grip on it, because we're going to need club head speed, but it's much more about reining yourself in, being really tight from these sort of areas, and being able to adapt clubs for different distances. I mean, what did you take there? Oh, I took 8. No, I took wedge. I don't care. I genuinely don't care how far you hit it. We've got to get it on the green and we've got to score. So yeah, I'm not interested in how far you can hit a shot. I'm not interested at all, and it doesn't particularly impress me. It's great to see someone hit massive high shots, but we are who we are and we should play our game. So learn to hit some shots into greens. Come and test yourself, find a spot, pick your club. Say I could hit a flat out lob wedge to that green. I'm never doing it, it'd be a complete waste of time. Comfortably sand iron, but I'm actually always going to hit my gap wedge from here. I've got to make a much shorter swing. I'm going to hit that target far more often. I mean, just break it down to what's your chance of making a long putt to a short putt, really. I mean, you're moving the club less, so you should be more in control. I mean, you have to learn to be good with your hands and control distance and things like that. I'll go back into these equidistant swing lengths, which are very good for controlling distance. So yeah, that's what you got to try and do. Scale everything back in, take a breath. Don't be, what did you hit? I can hit it 100 yards with my sand iron, so I'm hitting my sand iron. Maybe the 9 is the perfect shot for you. So you're going to have to practice to do that. But yeah, that is my top tip of the day. Let's move on to the putting green. So onto the putting green now, and definitely a game within a game. The nemesis of my golf, I come from a generation of bad putters. My dad was lousy, and I think he passed on some sort of gene to me, and it's always been the thing that held me back. I always remember I played in British Open qualifying at Hankley Common. I played brilliant. I played fantastic, and I'm writing my score down for 71 I've had. And I'm playing with a guy that went on to become quite a successful tour player, a guy called Gary Orr. And I said, what'd you have, Gary? And he said 67. I went, did you? And he sort of went, yeah. Like I was sort of calling him out on some sort of bad score. I'd played so much better than him, miles better than him. And he was 4 shots better than me. And I did think to myself, just didn't miss any putts, did he? He just chipped up, knocked the putt in. He probably played poorly for his 67. I don't know, that's probably the difference, isn't it? But for the rest of us, it's probably a stat you should track. It's probably, if you're taking more than 36 putts around, you're having too many, really. So let's try and narrow that down. And I think the real problem you've got to cause you for handicap players is the inability to get the first putt close enough for it to pretty much a kick in. So I reckon I learned this when I was 12 years old, so I'm going to tell you now. And people always used to say, look at the hole, around the hole as a dustbin lid or a hula hoop. I've got to stop saying dustbin lid, because I say it to my kids' groups, they haven't got a clue what a dustbin is. So, and like a wheelie bin seems a bit weird. So a hula hoop size around the hole, if I said that was the hole here, a hula hoop, I think we'd all knock it in. So that ability to control that first putt is very important. You've got to practice a bit. I see a lot of normal problems with backswing length, one, and deceleration for a lot of people that have come up short. They've made a long backswing and they've decelerated the club into the ball. It's much like chipping. So I'm just going to finish this video here. I'm going to have one putt. I'm going to roll this into my hula hoop and move on. Maybe. It's a very, very, very big hula hoop. Thank you all for watching, and I'm going to keep on practicing. See you all next week.